think I can share it with my group. Oh wait,
Okay, I
actually,
emailed it to you as well. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Gentlemen of Crypto, episode 71. I am King, and we have a special, very special guest here with us today from the Betoken, Jonathan Chou. He's going to tell you everything about what they're doing for their ICO they're about to launch and how they hope to decentralize home sharing. This is the new decentralized Airbnb for blockchain technology, I'm guessing. How you doing today, Jonathan?
great. Thank you for having me.
For sure. Thanks for being here. So, real quick, just go ahead and give your background about, who you are, where you're from, your team as well. I see you all, coming from Uber, Google, Facebook, Don Draper. You got Civic Key folks. You got everybody from every big tech space, fintech space here on your team. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So before starting Betoken, I was leading the security and fraud team at Uber, and of course, security and blockchain go hand in hand. So as I continue to research, this is my hobby. I just became so passionate about it that at some point it just made sense to leave and start a crypto company. And when I did that, I reached out to the best people I knew in my network to see if they would come and join me. And surprisingly, all of them said yes. So and ended up with a lot more all-stars on the team than I expected, but it's a great thing.
Good stuff. All right. So first, just so we get the dates out there, when is the ICO, the pre-sale? How much are you looking to raise? I know all this is in the white paper. I read it, but just so the viewers know as well.
Yeah. So we're doing a public pre-sale open for all accredited investors January 2nd, and we'll be doing a token sale January 31st.
Okay, and it looks like you were looking to raise 15 million for a total supply of 500 million B tokens.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so got to ask, because some ICOs go through this, what will happen if you don't reach that 15 million? Is that going to be something that's detrimental to you all's success?
Yeah, so I think we already hit our soft cap. Our soft cap is about 5 mil. So we're going to be raising 5 mil in the pre-sale, public pre-sale, and then 5 mil in the ICO. So regardless of how much we raise, we'll definitely continue the project, and any tokens that are unsold will burn.
Okay, so that will be burned. All right, well, 15 million, that isn't a lot, especially for you Silicon Valley folks up there. So I'm sure you'll get to that as well. So only accredited investors in the United States, and then of course overseas, however each country does it as well, right?
Yeah, for the public pre-sale. And then for the token generation event, anyone who is within a country that can participate in token sales can participate. Doesn't have to be accredited.
Okay. Is there a cap on this, or any bounties in general? Everybody likes to look for the bug bounties, or social media bounties. Are you doing any of those?
Yeah, so we originally really wanted to do a bounty, but we got legal guidance that bounties are not good in this current environment, so we had to shut down our bounty program, unfortunately. But after token sale, we'll definitely be launching some bug bounties. We're a pretty engineering heavy team, so we love digging deep in that.
Okay. And then of course the big question that a lot of the investors love to know is, which exchanges are you all planning to get listed on?
Yeah, definitely. So we can't comment on that because it's considered insider trading or price manipulation.
Hey, well, according to Vera, there's no such thing as insider trading. But go ahead.
Yeah, and other prominent people on Twitter as well. But we definitely know what the community wants. We've all been part of token sales before this, so I think we have a good grasp on what steps to take to make the community happy.
Okay. And your tokens, they are tradable after the crowd sale, or you're gonna have to wait? I saw for your advisors and your team, you all have a vested way of releasing tokens. We're only doing so many every so often to the team, so they're not getting them all at once. What about the general public?
Yeah, so for the team and advisors, any tokens will be locked and vested over 2 years. So you'll be fully vested after 2 years.
Okay. All right. So just tell us a little bit more about your project. You plan to decentralize Airbnb, basically put everything on the blockchain, so people can literally just go on the blockchain, rent out houses, rooms, apartments, whatever, without needing a third party, correct?
Yep, exactly. So I think one of the two main components of decentralizing Airbnb is first the tokenization aspect, which you give everyone in the network tokens so they feel like they're part of it. And so if the network grows or the success of the whole platform grows, everyone wins, as opposed to just the traditional way where only the founders and VCs, they hold everything. So it's only they win. And then the second part is removing the middleman, like you were talking about, and just taking that 15-20% commission and reducing it to zero.
So how are you going to pay for any fees or overhead you have? Is that just coming from the token, or how do you pay that end user?
Yeah, so we have two token valuation models. One of them we take from Binance, which is a popular exchange, and their token model is if you use their coin, you save 50% of the fees. So we do the same thing. If you use Betoken for our platform, we charge a 0% commission. But then if you use Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other ERC20 token, we charge a 1 to 2% convenience fee. So
okay.
Then
no, I was going to ask that too. So you can use Bitcoin and Ethereum still, right? You just, it's preferred to use yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So security, you do have a team full of developers. I saw that, which is really good. So I'm taking that you all are taking security as a top priority for the token sale and all that. But are you already have those mechanisms in place to ensure that, hey, our social media admin didn't get hacked and everybody clicked the phishing link? I mean, you have all that stuff taken care of already?
Yeah, so definitely. So we've done pretty thorough stuff. All of our medias are locked by a two-factor auth, as well as other precautionary steps I definitely don't want to talk about publicly.
No, whenever see, when people do talk about it, I don't trust it. I'm like, just the fact that you don't want to talk about it, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and our token sale contract, we spent over 200,000 USD auditing them. So not only do we have a top tier team writing them, but we've also taken the due diligence and paid a ton of money. They're pretty ridiculous at this point to get them audited and reviewed by 2 to 3 independent firms. One of them is Open Zeppelin, which is really famous. Another one is Chou. And so I think, yeah, we're pretty confident that based on all of these, nothing is 100% secure, but we're doing it.
All right, so let's kind of get into the meat of things. It's when I was looking at the roadmap, it's about a 2 to 3 year project before you all really get rolling. What challenges do you expect to face on the way?
I think cryptocurrency is still early. So for people, when they see a decentralized Airbnb, they think that we're going to like take over Airbnb in a day or two. I think what's most interesting at this point is proving that mainstream applications on Ethereum or any blockchain works, because there's not that many mainstream applications right now. I think the biggest is Steemit, and after that, there's basically nothing.
Hey, don't leave CryptoKitties out the mix, all right?
Right. Steemit and CryptoKitties. There we go.
So, and I say that though because it's an interesting point. CryptoKitties show that the Ethereum network does have does need to scale a bit better. So let's say you all do launch your project in the next couple of years, you start taking off faster than you expected. What are your plans to do? What are your plans if there's a problem scaling or there is congestion on the Ethereum network when it comes to your app?
Yeah. So for us, we actually believe that centralized technology is pretty good at scaling in the interim. So we use Ethereum as an on-chain or the main blockchain for all of our transactions. And then if the transactions get overloaded, we actually use AWS as a side chain or off chain. And basically that will process all the transactions, and we'll record all the hashes on the main blockchain of Ethereum to verify that they exist, but do all the heavy computing if Ethereum gets overloaded on AWS. And we're working with a lot of solutions. We're really passionate about scaling Ethereum, but the reality is it's a difficult problem, and
no, for sure. I mean, it's something that I think every blockchain, whatever they have in this space, is going to face. It's not just Ethereum. Bitcoin is going through it. And for everybody who loves to point to different coins, I'm like, you don't have enough customers to scale yet. So, no, that's definitely understandable. Big thing. What are your plans for regulatory issues? I mean, is there a way? Are people getting taxed for this? If they're not, Uncle Sam isn't going to be happy. So, what do you think? What are your plans in case you do get into that regulatory fight? Because we did see that with Airbnb and Uber when they rolled out. There were cities and states that didn't want them because it left out that middleman.
Yeah, so we're starting with San Francisco first, and what we're doing is we're talking to a lot of former Airbnb employees to get feedback. and some of them are informally advising us, and we're basically just copying their regulatory approach. I think it's been done. It's definitely not perfect, but it's not something that we have the resources to reinvent. So we're following pretty standard procedure there in the footsteps of Airbnb.
So even people use the Betoken or Bitcoin, Ethereum to pay, they still be taxed on this.
Yeah. So the burden of the tax will go to the homeowner. So we'll definitely try to provide invoices, and we'll try to provide all the documentation that they need, and it's ultimately up to them to file, like whether or not they want to file this.
I understand what you're saying, but you don't think that's going to, the government's going to say, well, we can't, let's say you guys blow up, it's, hundreds of thousands of people using this as soon as you can come out. They're going to say, well, we can't capture every hundreds of thousands of people who are using the app, so we're going to go after the team who started it. Do you not think about that at all?
Yeah, so I think for us, we're doing the best we can legally. We've definitely hired the best legal firms that we can afford, as well as gotten multiple legal opinions. So I think we're doing the best we can. I mean, cryptocurrency is in and of itself maybe not a fully regulated market,
right?
At all. So there's always inherent risk of any company operating so early stage at this point.
Well, no, I mean, we definitely support this approach anyway, so it's all right. So, like you said, you have a huge team. You got people coming from everywhere. Great projects. I spoke to Min. She was working with Draper, and then Civic Key with Benny Lingham. You got folks that came from Facebook and Google and everything. What other projects are some of your team working on concurrently?
Yeah, so I think for most of us, we're pretty full time on Betoken at this point. I think every advice we offer is relatively informal. Min Kim from Civic does advise quite a few big and upcoming projects like INS, Nucleus, Quantstamp, but other than that, I think most of us are pretty hands on. We love to help other projects, especially because we have a protocol layer which we'll be onboarding other projects onto, and so we spend a lot of time doing that. But otherwise, I personally don't want to advise any projects until at least a month or two after our token sale. So happy to help out informally, but really committed to Betoken at this point.
Okay. When did you decide in general, you say you kind of been in the crypto space for a while as well. When did you decide you wanted to do an ICO specifically for this as well? Like what made you think, hey, this is a good idea. I want to move forward with it.
Yeah, so I think the concept of a decentralized Airbnb is not original. I've read about it since a year or two ago from Don Tapscott's book or from Bernisky's book, and I've just continuously seen the idea of a decentralized Uber or Airbnb floating around. Even Vitalik, the last two times I saw him, talked about decentralized Airbnb, not Airbnb, decentralized Uber, which
right.
is
decentralized Uber is like the next big one everybody's going after.
Yeah. So I think at the idea in and of itself, I can't really take credit for being original for per se. But one of the parts that I realized by being in the space so long is it's almost all about execution. And so I think one part that we can take pride in as Betoken is we've definitely tried to hire the best that we could, and we've been working 4 to 5 months pretty quietly. We have a working prototype and on the Ethereum testnet, and I think in general we're more about executing this idea and proving that a decentralized big business can work, rather than reinventing the wheel.
No, that's great to hear. I mean, that's a good point. Everybody's had the ideals for everything, but like you said, the execution is where some teams are falling short, and then some teams you don't expect are coming out swinging. So a big thing. What happens if you do face that hurdle or that obstacle that may be too big that you all can't continue, or there's an issue going on? Like, what are your plans for that? Because that's another big one we're seeing. Whether it's scaling or whatever, we're seeing a lot of projects face that big hurdle, and some of them are just literally disappearing in thin air. So of course, investors want to make sure their investments are protected.
Yeah, so I think for us, regardless of how the application plays out, the protocols that we build will be inherently useful for the Ethereum blockchain as a whole, for any type of two-sided marketplace or sharing economy to build on top of. So I think regardless of what happens regulatory-wise, we'll still be providing pretty meaningful technology that projects will be able to build on top of. That being said, I definitely hope that we can continue to operate. It's definitely our passion to build a decentralized home sharing, and and we'll definitely try our best. Unless like they put us in jail or something.
I got you. Again, great. No, I do like some of the points you made. That was a great point. If just developing the tech is big, of course, because they have that, open. Is it good open source or is it?
Yeah, we're going to be open sourcing it. So we're in private beta right now. So we're onboarding a few projects. Like even Kyber Network is in private beta. So we just don't have the bandwidth to open source and let every project.
I understand that. Right. No. But yeah, the fact that you all are looking forward to just, having that out there for everybody to use and build on top of, like you say, hopefully the project does do well, but if it doesn't, then that technology is now out there as well. A big one. What if Airbnb did see you guys come in, they do like your idea and you are building, they say, hey, we want to buy your company and change the business model. How would that affect investors? Is that something you all even consider?
Yeah, I think it's definitely interesting because there's an equity component of the company and then there's a token component of the company. So we're not quite sure what would happen there, but we definitely see if big companies like Airbnb want to adopt and use our protocol, we're not against that. We want to move the ideology of decentralization forward, and if that means that they're willing to adopt our protocols and base layers, we're happy to onboard any project. So if that, yeah.
No, okay. So it's just about getting it out there and getting the technology moving.
Yep.
I understand. So Q1 or Q2, you go live in San Francisco, correct?
Yeah. So we have a private alpha that we've been floating around to select few people. We'll probably be releasing that in a public beta. It'll still be on the Ethereum testnet before token sale, and then we'll be going on. We're doing a lot more regression testing on our code, and then we'll be launching it in a mainnet sometime around Q1.
Okay. So how many, do you have a plan about how many users you're trying to get in San Francisco when you start, or any of those details?
Yeah. So for us, what's most important is to have a smooth rollout, something that will not scare away 99% of the crypto users. So we're going to be onboarding 50 super hosts of Airbnb onto our platform, and we're rewarding them very generously with Betokens to be our flagship listings. And then we're going to be continuously monitoring these days and seeing what happens and iterating our process until we feel like it's good for mass adoption. By mass adoption, I mean mass adoption in the crypto world. Right. And we'll be adding more after that.
So the super hosts, I'm assuming they're the people who host more than anybody and done it a while for Airbnb, and then they're going to switch over and use your model for a while to see how it works and test it out?
Yeah, absolutely. So we see that there's a good amount of hosts who also are heavily invested in crypto, and with the proper incentives, they're definitely they're more than willing, they're more than excited about Betoken anyways, but with the proper incentives, it makes it worth their time to be our flagship host.
Okay. And then in 2019, you guys looks like you're expanding to London and a few other countries and cities?
Yeah, we want to be in every single major crypto hub there is. We want it to be like when people go to conferences or have events of crypto, that we're there, like people are able to use their crypto. I think no one is really willing to sell their crypto for anything, really. Definitely not fiat. But I think one thing that people are willing to trade their crypto for is meaningful experiences and memories, and we definitely see that Betoken can provide that. So we're really excited about letting them get some ROI on spending their beloved ETH or Betoken.
Well, no, I mean, I'm excited that you are actually targeting the crypto community because, the feedback, I'm sure, as well as is going to come back fast, whether it's a plus or minus. So the fact that you're just hitting those people and then the people at the conferences, like you said, that is a perfect way to roll it out. And then from there, if, the crypto community accepts it, I'm pretty sure majority of the world will as well. So that's pretty good. So any, big things did you want to mention or talk about that you want people to know about your token sale?
No, just shout out to my team, the community, and our awesome advisors. I think they're what makes our project possible. And otherwise, please check us out at the normal places.
Here's another question. I always ask, CEOs this for the ICO and stuff. Your white paper wasn't as bloated as some, but it still is pretty lengthy. What makes you want to do a longer white paper versus a shorter one?
Yeah, I think the white paper is kind of a legacy of the old crypto phase where it used to be really academic, very anonymous, and it's becoming more and more casual as as projects go become more modern and there's more mainstream people flowing in. But at the end of the day, I think the white paper still symbolizes for people who want to do deep due diligence that information is there and thought of. And then I think then what's popular is you take that 30, 40 page white paper and you can repackage it to a pitch deck, which is 10 pages, or you can repackage it to like a one pager on Medium. So I think starting with a really deep layer is crucial because you can always simplify it into smaller packages later on. So I think it'll become popular that there's a white paper, but there's also like a pitch deck or business proposal, and then there's also a one pager. I think eventually it'll get to that, so you can read as much as you want.
No, that's true. Yeah, of course. Once we get a few more suits, we're gonna have 3 different layers for people to look at, of course. Yep. All right, so we can find you at the Betoken.com, correct? BEETOKEN.com.
Yes, exactly. The Betoken.com, and Telegram is at Betoken, BE. Yeah.
Now, are you also active on Telegram, or do you have people managing that for you?
Yeah, we're all pretty active. I think we all grew up on Telegram. We have some dedicated mods who are also involved with the project on the product side as well. So they're very knowledgeable about us. I'm very comfortable having them represent and talk to community. One of them is Jay Cooper. Another one is Dan. Another one is D-Todd. These guys are great. And I try to be on the Telegram as much as possible. I also want to be outside doing the work to make Betoken successful, so I can't be on it all the time, as much as I used to at least. But we're definitely there. And I think that for us, we want to make the community happy first, as opposed to just target random Airbnb users. So we definitely want to make this product usable for them.
Sounds good. Well, no, again, it's glad to hear that you're, spoke to a few different people. A lot of people sometimes just come into the crypto community. So it sounds like you all have been in it. Of course, you got people working for it. You're active on Telegram and all that. You're reachable. So I'm excited to see how your project unfolds. Again, that pre-sales begins, was it January
2nd?
January 2nd is the pre-sale, okay? And they're looking to raise 15 million for a total supply of 500 million B tokens. Again, you can find them at the betoken.com. And then last message, last words, Jonathan, I'll leave them to you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
For sure. I can't wait to see what your project does. We'll definitely be following along. And hopefully I can jump in with some of these tokens at exchanges.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, thanks for coming. Take care.
Thanks.